Novella Nightmares.
The Ghost of Oxford Milford Road. Ever since I could remember, I've been drawn to the mysteries and secrets of the past. It's during one of my visits to a quaint rural town, frozen in time since the 1940s, that I stumbled upon a story that would haunt me for years to come. The town, with its cobbled streets and sleepy demeanor, held a secret, a legend that whispered through the alleys and the old houses like a lingering fog. It was in the dim light of the local library, amidst dust-covered books and yellowed newspapers, that I first learned of them. A young couple, bound by love so deep and pure it defied the constraints of their time. He was a farmer's son, known for his daring spirit. She was the jewel of the town, graceful and gentle, yet spirited. But her parents, rigid in their ways, vehemently opposed their union. As I delved deeper into their tale, I discovered the lengths to which their love had driven them. Every night, under the cloak of darkness, they would meet in secret. The signal was simple yet intimate. The young woman would sneak out to her parents' old Ford parked under a gnarled oak tree. There, her trembling hands would flash the car's headlights 3 times, sending a beacon of light throughout the night to her waiting suitor. This signal, a silent declaration of love, was their lifeline, a thread connecting their 2 hearts in the dead of night. He would then ride his motorcycle, a rumble in the quiet down the winding road to where she waited. Their meetings were brief, stolen moments where they could dream of a future that seemed an impossible wish. Each page I turned, each account I read, drew me deeper into their world. Their story was a tapestry of love and defiance, woven into the very fabric of the town. But as I would soon learn, their tale was not one of simple love. It was etched with tragedy, a haunting melody that played softly in the background of their star-crossed romance. Little did I know, as I sat there in the library, my fascination with their story would lead me down a path of eerie encounters and unexplainable events. Their legend was not just a tale of the past. It was a living, breathing presence in the town, and I was about to step into its shadow. As I delved deeper into their story, the nightly meetings of the young lovers began to paint a vivid picture in my mind. Night after night, the young woman would wait until the house was silent, the only sound being the rhythmic ticking of the old grandfather clock in the hallway. Then, with the heart fluttering like a caged bird, she would signal her love, and like clockwork, his motorcycle cutting through the stillness of the night, a symbol of their undying love. Their routine was a dance of shadows and whispers, a fragile bubble that existed only in the secrecy of night. But as I turned the pages of their history, I could feel a sense of foreboding creeping in. It was as if the very air around me in that old library grew colder, bracing for the tragedy that was to come. And then, I came upon the account of that fateful night. It was a night much like any other, cloaked in darkness and expectation. But fate, cruel and unyielding, had other plans. He had taken a turn on the road near her house, a turn he had taken countless times before. But this time, it was different. This time, his motorcycle skidded uncontrollably, betraying him in a moment of need. The account described a horrific crash, the kind that leaves nothing but heartbreak in its wake. He was thrown from his motorcycle, and in those fleeting moments, their dreams shattered against the cold, hard ground. The news of his death spread through town like wildfire. A young life, full of promise and love, extinguished in the blink of an eye. But death, I learned, was not the end of their story. It was merely a new, chilling chapter. In the weeks that followed, whispers of his ghost haunting Milford Road began to surface. At first, I dismissed these as mere rumors, the kind that often follow tragic events in small towns. But the more I read, the more these accounts took hold of me. People spoke of seeing a solitary headlight in the distance, only for it to vanish as they approached. Others talked about a ghostly figure on a motorcycle, riding eternally on that fateful stretch of road, searching for his lost love. The more I immersed myself in their tale, the more real it became to me. It was as if I could feel his presence, a restless spirit trapped in a perpetual loop of love and loss. The lines between past and present began to blur, and I found myself drawn to Milford Road, compelled to experience the legend for myself. Little did I know, my curiosity was about to lead me into an encounter that would forever change my understanding of love, death, and the thin veil that separates them. The story of the young lovers was no longer just a tale from the past. It was about to become a terrifying reality in my own life. My fascination with the legend took a new turn when I stumbled upon a more recent account, one that bridged the past to my present. It was the tale of Brad Culp and his girlfriend, who many decades after their tragic events decided to delve into the mysteries of Milford Road themselves. Their story resonated with me, a kindred spirit driven by curiosity and a touch of fear. Brad, much like myself, had been captivated by the local lore. His girlfriend, however, was more apprehensive, her belief in the supernatural stronger than his. Their experience on Milford Road, as detailed in an old article I found, sent shivers down my spine. They had seen something unexplainable, something that defied logic and reason. My interest, now piqued more than ever, transformed into a deep need to experience Milford Road for myself. The thought of standing where they stood, or perhaps encountering the ghostly biker, was both terrifying and exhilarating. I couldn't shake the image of the lone headlight appearing on the road, the manifestation of love and tragedy so profound it transcended death. After much contemplation, I decided it was time to face my fears and curiosity head-on. I reached out to a couple of friends who shared my interest in the paranormal. Initially, they were skeptical, their reactions a mix of disbelief and excitement. But as I recounted the tale of the young lovers and Brad Culp's eerie encounter, their skepticism turned into a burning curiosity. So, we planned our journey, our own investigation into the haunting on Milford Road. As the day approached, I felt a cocktail of emotions swirling within me. There was fear, undoubtedly, at the prospect of coming face to face with the unknown. But there was also a strange sense of connection, as if I was being drawn to the road by a force beyond my understanding. The night we chose was perfect for a ghost story. A moonless sky, the stars obscured by scudding clouds, the world around us cloaked in darkness. As we drove towards Milford Road, the air was thick with anticipation. Each of us was silent, lost in our thoughts, our imaginations painting vivid pictures of what might lie ahead. We were about to step into a legend, to walk in the footsteps of those who came before us. Little did we know, the night had its own plans, and what we were seeking was already waiting for us, lurking in the shadows of Milford Road. The drive to Milford Road was shrouded in eerie silence, broken only by the occasional murmur of the car engine and the distant hoot of an owl. My friends and I exchanged nervous glances, each lost in our apprehension and skepticism. The road ahead was bathed in darkness, the dense canopy of trees on either side appearing like silent sentinels watching over us. As we neared the infamous stretch of road where the young man had met his tragic end, my heart began to race. I could sense the weight of history around us, the whispers of a past forever etched into this place. Pulling the car over, I killed the engine, and we sat there for a moment in the pitch black, the only sound, our shallow breathing. Gathering my courage, I remembered the ritual from the story. The 3 flashes of the car's headlights that had once been a signal of love. And now, perhaps, a summons for the restless spirit. With a shaky hand, I flicked the headlights on and off. Once, twice, 3 times. The beams of light cut through the darkness, an eerie echo of a decades-old romance. For a moment, nothing happened. The silence around us felt oppressive, as if the very night was holding its breath. Then, in the distance, a faint glow appeared. At first, it was barely noticeable, a mere flicker in the far reaches of the road. But slowly, it grew brighter, a single headlight emerging from the darkness, approaching us at a steady pace. We watched in stunned silence, our skepticism giving way to a growing sense of unease. The light moved closer and closer, its beam becoming more defined in the night. It was surreal, like a scene from a ghost story come to life. My mind raced with possibilities. Could it be another car, a trick of the light, or was it truly the ghostly biker? The headlights continued its slow approach, unwavering path towards us almost hypnotic. I could feel a chill run down my spine, a mixture of fear and fascination. We were witnessing something unexplainable, something that defied the boundaries of the natural world. As the light drew nearer, the tension in the car became heavy. We were on the brink of uncovering the truth of the Milford Road legend, about to come face to face with a ghost from the past. Little did we realize that the night still had secrets to reveal, and what we were about to experience would leave us questioning the very nature of reality itself. As the single headlight drew closer, a thick sense of dread began to envelop the car. Each of us sat frozen, our eyes fixated on the approaching light. The once comforting hum of the car engine now seemed like a distant memory, replaced by the thudding of our hearts and the eerie silence of the night. The light continued its steady, unwavering approach, growing brighter and more menacing with each passing second. I feel a mix of terror and disbelief churning inside of me. My rational mind struggled to find a logical explanation, but the legend of Milford Road, the stories of the ghostly rider, loomed large in my thoughts. My friends reacted in their own ways. One sat in stunned silence, skepticism crumbling before his eyes. The other clutched the car seat, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination. The atmosphere in the car was electric, charged with a fear that was almost tangible. Then, as the light reached a point where it seemed almost upon us, where we could almost hear the phantom roar of the motorcycle's engine, it happened. In an instant, the light vanished. No trace, no sound, nothing. One moment it was there, and the next it was as if it had never existed. We sat in bewildered silence, trying to process what had just happened. The sudden disappearance of the light defied explanation. It was as if the night had swallowed it whole, leaving us in a void of confusion and fear. My heart raced, and my mind raced faster, trying to piece together the fragments of logic and superstition. The legend of the ghostly rider, which had seemed like a distant story, was now a chilling reality, an unexplained phenomenon that we had witnessed firsthand. The fear in the car was no longer just about ghost stories. It was a fear of the unknown, something beyond our understanding. We had come seeking answers, but we were left with only more questions, our minds struggling to comprehend the impossible. In those moments, on that dark, desolate road, the legend of Milford Road was no longer just a tale from the past. It was a living, breathing entity, and we had just experienced its terrifying reality. The night was far from over, and we would soon discover the ghost of Milford Road had more secrets to unveil. In the aftermath of the vanishing light, we sat in silence, each of us trying to make sense of the inexplicable. The darkness around us felt heavier, as if charged with the echoes of the past. Shaken but driven by a need for answers, we decided to step out of the car and explore the area. The abandoned farm, once a landmark of rural life, now stood as a decaying relic, silhouette looming ominously against the night sky. We moved cautiously, flashlights cutting through the darkness, casting long, eerie shadows. The night was still, so quiet that every crunch of gravel under our feet sounded like thunder. As we scoured the area, a mix of confusion and curiosity fueled our search. We examined the spot where the light had disappeared, half expecting to find some clue, a trace of the motorcycle or its ghostly rider. But there was nothing, just the cold, hard ground and the whispering wind. Our frustration grew with each passing moment. The logical part of my brain sought rational explanations. Trick of the light, an optical illusion, anything that could explain away the ghostly apparition. But deep down, I knew we had experienced something beyond the realm of the ordinary, something that defied logical explanation. We ventured further, drawn to the old farmhouse. Its windows were like dark, empty eyes, and the air around it felt thick with untold stories. The place had an aura of sadness, a lingering remnant of the lives and loves it had once witnessed. As we moved through the overgrown yard, our flashlights revealed the remnants of the past. Broken farm equipment, scattered pieces of furniture, all covered in layers of dust and neglect. But no matter how much we searched, we found nothing that shed light on the mystery of the Phantom Rider. Eventually, we regrouped by the car, our minds racing with questions. The legend of Milford Road, which had seemed like a distant, almost romantic tale, had revealed a darker, more unsettling side. We were left with a profound sense of intrigue, a gnawing feeling that we had witnessed was a small piece of a much larger puzzle. As we drove away from Milford Road, the farm disappearing into the night behind us, I knew that our quest for understanding was far from over. The ghostly rider had touched our lives, leaving an indelible mark. And though we had more questions than answers, our encounter on that dark road would haunt us, beckoning us back to uncover the secrets that lay hidden in the shadows of the past. In the days following our eerie encounter on Milford Road, the incident became a haunting obsession that I couldn't shake off. It lingered in my mind like a persistent fog, clouding my thoughts and dreams. My wife, who had been my girlfriend back then, shared in this haunting preoccupation. We found ourselves repeatedly discussing it, turning over every detail in an attempt to make sense of what we had witnessed. Nights were the hardest. Lying in bed, I would stare at the ceiling, replaying the scene of the lone headlight emerging from the darkness, only to disappear without a trace. My wife, equally troubled, would often join me in these late-night ruminations. We speculated, hypothesized, and even researched extensively. But the mystery of Milford Road remained unsolved, an enigma that refused to be unraveled. Our friends who had shared in the experience were equally captivated by the incident. Our conversations, whether over dinner or during casual meetups, invariably circled back to that night. Each of us had felt something, a fear, a curiosity, a sense of something otherworldly that we couldn't ignore. The story of the young lovers and the ghostly biker became a fixture in our lives. It was as if by witnessing the phantom light, we had become a part of the legend ourselves. I began documenting our experience, jotting down every detail in a journal. I scoured through old newspapers, historical records, and even reached out to local historians in the hope of finding some clue that could shed light on our encounter. As time went on, our fascination began to impact our daily lives. We visited Milford Road repeatedly, sometimes during the day, other times at night, hoping to experience the phenomenon again or find something we might have missed. But each visit was met with the same result, an eerie calm and an unyielding silence that seemed to mock our efforts. Our home, once a place of comfort and warmth, started to feel different. We'd often wake up in the middle of the night thinking we heard the distant rumble of a motorcycle engine, only to find silence engulfing us. Conversations with friends and family began to drift towards the paranormal. Our experience on Milford Road, a constant presence in our minds. The incident had transformed from a simple curiosity to a deep-seated need to understand. It was no longer just about the thrill of a ghost story. It had become a quest for answers, a journey into the unknown. And as the legend of Milford Road continued to consume us, our encounter with the ghostly rider had changed us in ways we could never have anticipated. As the years passed, the mystery of the Milford Road became a tale we often shared, especially on nights when the darkness seemed to invite stories of the unknown. Around campfires, with the flames casting ghostly shadows, we would recount our experience to captivated audiences. Our voices would rise and fall with the ebb and flow of our tale, and we would swear on its truth, each word underscored by the sincerity of our conviction. Yet, even as we shared our story, the lingering doubts and unanswered questions continued to haunt us. That night on Milford Road had opened a door to the unknown that we could never fully close. We lived with the constant wonder of what we had truly seen, a puzzle that refused to be solved. Had we witnessed a supernatural occurrence, a mere trick of light and shadow, or something else entirely? These questions hung over us, an ever-present cloud that followed our daily lives. Our friends, who had shared in that fateful night, carried their own burdens of doubt and intrigue. We would often come together, each of us hoping the other had found some new piece of information, some key that would unlock the mystery we had encountered. But the answers remained elusive, just out of reach, like shadows that vanish when you turn to face them. In sharing our story, we also extended an invitation to others to explore Milford Road, to experience its haunting beauty, and perhaps even encounter its ghostly rider. We urged the curious, the skeptics, and the believers alike to visit the road, to walk in our footsteps and confront their own beliefs. Perhaps another set of eyes, another perspective could shed light on the mystery that had become an integral part of our lives. To this day, the legend of Milford Road lingers in my mind. It's a tale that has become a part of me, a chapter in my life that I revisit in quiet moments of reflection. I often wonder if someone out there holds the key to understanding that we experienced, or if the ghostly rider is destined to remain an enigma, a spectral figure forever riding alone in the darkness. So, to you, the listener, I extend the same invitation. If you ever find yourself near that rural stretch of road, take a moment to stop and listen to the whispers of the past. Flash your car's headlights 3 times and wait in the silence that follows. Who knows? You might just uncover a piece of the puzzle that has eluded us for so long. But be warned, once you step into the legend of Milford Road, it may become a part of your story too, a haunting melody that plays softly in the background of your life.